They are business leaders, experts in economy, society, and culture. In 15 minutes, their insights will create a vivid picture of Vietnam. Sharing Vietnam, the country as you see it.
Hello everyone and welcome to Sharing Vietnam of Vietnam Channel VT10. I'm your host, John Chun. As Vietnam continues to develop, enabling poor rural people and giving them the capacity to overcome poverty is one of our society's biggest concerns. Contributing to poverty reduction in Vietnam are the efforts of international organizations, but much is needed to be done. Today, in our program, we have the opportunity to talk with a representative from the International Fund for Agricultural Development. I would like to introduce Ms. Atsuko Toda, Country Program Manager for IFAD Vietnam. Atsuko, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Very nice to meet you too.
And before we begin, here's a clip about our guest. Hello everyone and welcome back. So Atsuko, you've been in Vietnam for 4 years now. How's life been in Vietnam?
Life in Vietnam has been wonderful. I'm enjoying actually traveling to the rural provinces and I've really loved every moment of being here.
And so your work brings you to remote rural areas. How's that been different to city life?
Basically, I really don't know how to compare because my life has been really very much traveling in the provinces almost all the time. But when I do come back to Hanoi, I'm always struck by how much traffic, how much people, how much activity there is ongoing. Whereas in the provinces, life still is a bit peaceful.
And do you notice a difference between the regions and what you visit?
Absolutely, John. I think one of the most beautiful and wonderful things about Vietnam is the differences between the regions. And there is just such a stark diversity of people, food, cultures, landscapes. And every province we go is
unique.
Exactly, is unique.
So Atsuko, as I mentioned before, you've been here for 4 years. Yes. Could you give us some of your highlights and some of the unforgettable memories?
Some of the unforgettable memories, I guess there are so many. It's really hard to start. But a lot of my unforgettable memories are in the villages where we work. Basically, we have time to interview farmers and we interview a lot of ethnic minorities. We interview women and we learn about their lives. And some of the difficult stories they tell us with really a smile. And then they'll tell us about some of the hardships of their lives, but at the same time you can see that they're so generous and in a sense they have a much more complete life in terms of family and values. So just working in villages, talking to villagers, drinking with the villagers have been some of the unforgettable memories.
And that's what I'm going to segue and ask next. We have here that you drink quite a lot. And drinking is a part of the Vietnamese culture. Could you share with us this aspect of the culture?
Yes, I think basically in order to talk to farmers, actually in order to talk to local authorities, I think drinking helps to establish a sense of trust because basically you're letting down your guard and you're actually sharing something that you can enjoy together.
Definitely.
So they definitely feel that you are telling them the truth after you've had a drink.
I see.
There's that aspect, and the other aspect is that they like to see people drunk, and they really like to try to make you as drunk as possible. But I think it's such an important part of rural life, and in one of our projects we actually promote the production of alcohol because it is processing of rice and it's value adding to a commodity which they produce. So a lot of poor farmers produce rice and then they actually process it into local alcohol. And that has been quite successful because our project has been able to package that rice wine locally.
I see. It sounds like your work is a lot of fun, drinking and interacting with people. So Atsuko, actually we're going to take a break before we dive into it. And here's a clip about IFAD and the projects to help rural poor people overcome poverty.
The International Fund for Agricultural Development (IFAD) is an international financial institution and specialized agency of the United Nations dedicated to eradicating rural poverty in Vietnam and other developing countries. IFAD supports more than 200 ongoing programs and projects around the world. IFAD works fund with the poorest people in Vietnam, including ethnic minorities, small-scale farmers, and households hit by women. Strategies to reduce poverty and improve living conditions include building partnerships, strengthening institutional capacity, and promoting participation. IFAD works with the government and other partners to empower poor rural people so they can have a role in decision-making. To do this, IFAD finance program projects that focus on developing and testing innovation approach to poverty reduction that can be replicated and scaled up by the government and other agencies.
Hello everyone and welcome back. So Atsuko, as we've seen from the clip, you guys have various programs that help poor rural people the capacity to overcome poverty. Could you elaborate on these programs?
Sure. In IFAD, what we try to do is promote innovation. We work in agriculture and rural development. What we do in the field is we form common interest groups, which are groups of farmers. And they come together based on an economic interest, and we help them to have a vision with regards to getting more market access. We link these groups to businesses. So we try to make sure that they get a better price for their products than they're currently getting. So these farmers, as they form into groups, they tend to buy inputs together and sell together. We link them to businesses, and then what we also do is decentralize money to the commune level so that they're able to basically access infrastructure, productive equipment, capacity building, extension services. We also provide credit lines so that farmers can get credit.
Oh, I see.
And we also work with the provincial governments to improve the investment environment and the business climate for more private sector to come in. So what we try to do is find a sustainable way of working with the farmers in a market-oriented poverty reduction approach.
I see. So I want to jump into this. You talked about market access. How can you improve market access for farmers?
To improve market access, we need to give them market information, training on how to think in a more market-oriented manner. And then I believe very much that we need to form groups, and I believe that we need to have small-scale infrastructure to ensure connectivity.
I see. And can you give us an example of a successful project that you worked on?
We've worked, for example, in Ha Tinh province, where we've helped farmers to generate income through aquaculture projects. So there's a particular farmer. He started off just basically not knowing what he wanted to do, but he started an aquaculture project, shrimp farming, and from there he was able to give jobs to other farmers who are working in the area, and he's been able to increase his income sixfold.
So Atsuko, you've been here for 4 years. In your opinion, what is the most significant thing that you need to keep in mind when helping these poor rural people? Is it capacity building? Is it resource? What do you think?
I think, John, that you've hit the nail on the head. It's really about capacity building. It's about changing the mindset of farmers and of local authorities. Farmers can make and generate an income. They need to access markets. They do not need to rely on handouts and subsidies. What they need to do is to be economically empowered. They have ideas. We just need to build the capacity, help them to get training, help them to get credit, and then help them to get market access. And then they're able to improve their lives, generate income, and hopefully have a sustainable impact on their livelihood.
That's great. So Atsuko, you were just saying that capacity building is the most critical thing that you can offer to farmers. So what ways do you provide farmers with capacity to better themselves or increase their effectiveness of their business?
I think the most important capacity is knowledge. So if we can give farmers awareness about market opportunities, number one. Number two, about proper value chains that work. 3, market information. And then actually, basically job opportunities also, because we see a labor structure change in many of the rural areas. These are the kind of things that we can provide them with, knowledge, information. And I think with regards to production techniques, there are a number of production techniques, skills that can be improved. So we help them with that. Through the existing line agencies, we work through extensionists, the Farmers Union, the Cooperative Alliance, and then they, within their groups, can share that information. So I find that we really have to generate a lot of group mobilization, social mobilization in the projects. So that's at one level. The other level is the local government, the commune authorities. They really need to put in a process of participation, so that they actually include the villagers' voice into the planning process. And that also is extremely important.
So Atsuko, actually we're going to take another break and let's take a look at IFAD's other activities in Vietnam.
Rural Development Project in Ha Tinh Province is planned by the coordination between Vietnam and the International Agricultural Development Fund (IFAD), with total investment of $19 million. The project includes 4 components: the component of development participation, income diversification component, rural bridge and road component, and the project management component. The aim of this project is to improve income as well as living conditions for poor households in rural areas and improve capacity for themselves. This project has contributed to reduce the poverty in Ha Tinh Province from 52% to approximately 20%. The project also organized workshops on breathing, cultivation, credit, and forest topics with more than 100,000 participation.
Thực sự thì với hợp tác xã chúng tôi là những cái nơi mà để tạo việc làm cho lao động, và cô có hợp tác xã thì lúc đó này lao động mới có việc làm. Bởi vậy mà chúng tôi cũng đang muốn là được dự án quan tâm hỗ trợ nhiều hơn nữa để là chúng tôi là tạo thêm nhiều ngành nhiều nghề cho.
Through this project, road and bridge system has also been improved so that the access to health services and also market for local people has been strongly improved. The component of small-scale credit has contributed to enhance the capacity, job creation, and income growth for a large number of the poor. In addition, this project has invested to build 246 new classrooms in community in Ha Tinh.
Hello everyone and welcome back. I just want to pause you for a second. Do you think that more can be done in terms of the role of the communal governments?
Absolutely. I think that currently the government is making a strong push towards decentralization to the commune level. And I definitely believe at the commune level, that is the lowest administrative level, whereby they have better knowledge on the livelihoods of their people. They understand the villagers' needs much better. They can actually provide services in a much more needs-based way. So I do believe that the thrust of the government to decentralize resources to the commune is the right one.
And looking forward into the future, what's the next step, or what is the overall strategy?
Our next steps are to continue to work in the provinces, particularly in poor regions. What we'd really like to do is address the issue of why certain regions, why certain provinces remain poor. We'd really like to continue to understand what is the ethnic minority poverty problem. We'd like to continue to address the issues of rural poor women. We'd like to support Vietnam as it moves forward in the Tam Nong strategy, the new agricultural rural development strategy. We'd like to operationalize some of the market-oriented ideas, consolidate the lessons we learned, and really increase the impact that our projects have in terms of rural poverty reduction.
And that's all the questions I have today. And I just want to ask you the final message. Would you like to say anything to our audience?
I would like to thank your audience for having such interest in this issue of rural poverty. It is something which touches the lives of everybody in the sense that basically working in rural development is about poverty reduction for the country. And I do believe that it is a concern, an issue of interest for the country.
So Atsuko, that's all we have for today. Thank you very much for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes our show for today. Thank you for watching Sharing Vietnam. From all of us from NetVid Channel VTC10, I'm John Chun. Live for today, and we'll see you tomorrow.